Magandang umaga po sa inyo lahat. Siguro itatanong ninyo, no? Father, ano nangyari sa mga statwa ninyo? No? Pinaparenovate nyo ba ito? Bakit nakatakip ito? Alam niyo kung bakit nakatakip ito? Unang-una, now is the time to begin to focus on the passion of Christ. Na kapag tinatakpan natin yung mga statwa, pati mga krus, pati mga imahe, ibang imahe, tinutulungan tayong mga mananampalataya na mag-focus doon sa mga mas malalim pa na siguro pagdadalamhati dahil sa pagdurusan ni Jesus na wala tayong ibang distraction, not even other images. And therefore, it's like a symbol of mourning, pagdadalamhati, na yung mga nakatakip, yung mga pantakip mismo, ito'y kulay violet. Of course, it's a color of Lent, pero it's a visual sign of sorrow. At tayo nagninilay, no? Dito sa parang ambience na medyo mas malungkot dito sa panahon na tungo dun sa pagpapakasakit ng Panginoon. Remember last week, no? It was Letare Sunday, rejoice. Ngayon, let's be more subdued. And then finally, no? It's an echo of the gospel. Pag binasa ninyo, John 8:46 to 59, kung minsan ito yung binabasa, no? Dito sa panahon na ito, anong mababasa natin doon? Jesus hid himself. Nagtago siya. At umalis siya sa templo. Yun yung punto ng Ebanghelyo ni San Juan. If you want, no, you read the Gospel of St. John, and it can be divided into two parts. The book of signs in his ministry, no, yung nangangaral siya, nagpapagaling siya. Pero dumating yung punto na Jesus hid himself. And that somehow signals the point na he went away from public ministry. At tapos ngayon na, it's towards his glory. The hour of glorification has come, and therefore, it now ushers in the book of glory. Ayan. At ano nakita natin? So Jesus hid himself. When we cover images, that's a symbol na si Jesus ay nagtago mula dun sa public ministry at he's now approaching the passion. Kaya nga, it's an anticipation of the Holy Week, which we will begin next week. Pag naglagay tayo ng belo dito sa mga imahe na ito, we anticipate the Holy Week. And we are visually deprived of familiar holy images. At nagiging mas dramatic yung unveiling nitong images when Easter comes. Ayan yung napakagandang liturhiya natin. And in fact, when we read the preface, alam niyo yung preface, yung sinasabi ng pare bago yung santo, bago yung holy, bago yon, nandun yung preface. The preface that we will read beginning this day until the first days of Holy Week will be the preface of the Passion. So, these are the two final weeks of Lent. Ang tawag nila nung unang panahon dito ay the Passion Tide. Okay, so we are now in the Passion Tide. Now, with regard to our liturgy for today, I'd like to introduce it in this way. Ewan ko sino sa inyo nag-aral ng logic nung kayo'y college. Is it familiar to you, that subject? Logic, when you have terms, you have propositions, you have syllogisms, tapos isang bahagi nun ay yung dilemma. Alam niyo kung ano yung dilemma? You are faced with two opposing propositions, and you have to choose one of them. At may conclusion yon. Example, ikaw ay may exam bukas. No? So, examination mo bukas. Hindi ka pa nagre-review at gabi na. Okay? Kita niyo yung sitwasyon? Kapag nag-review ka, kapag hindi ka nag-review, anong mangyayari sa'yo sa exam? Babagsak ka. Kapag nag-review ka, buong gabi, anong mangyayari sa exam mo? Pagod na pagod ka, antok na antok ka, wala kang tulog, anong mangyayari? Babagsak ka. Therefore, yung conclusion in both propositions ay babagsak ka. Okay? That's an example of a dilemma. Pero there are even deeper dilemmas. Halimbawa, there could be a moral dilemma. Halimbawa, meron isang doktor, and I think this is really very much tackled in ethics, yung mga doktor sa inyo. Halimbawa, yung doktor, meron siyang 5 pasyente. Tapos, bawat isa sa kanila, meron silang pangangailangan ng iba't ibang organs in order to survive. Tapos, a healthy patient with matching organs arrives for a routine checkup. Tapos yung tanong, should the doctor sacrifice 1 to save 5? Father, medyo hindi yan, no? Imposible yan. At very much unethical yan. Pero halimbawa, eto, mas simple, no? You witness your close friend shoplifting. Tapos, so kita mo, nag-shoplift siya. Pag nireport mo siya, yun yung tamang dapat gawin, di ba? Legally. Pero it could ruin your friendship. Ano yun? I-report mo ba yung theft or mananahimik ka na lang? Di ba? Bigat ng dilemma na yun, no? O kaya, ito pa yung isang dilemma. You're offered a dream job in another country. Kaso na nga, yung mga magulang mo, tumatanda na. And they need your support at home. Question, do you pursue your career or do you stay to take care of your family? Ayan, anong sagot mo sa dilemma na yan? Or merong isang, siguro, social dilemma. Nakita mo, no, yung kaibigan mo, binubully online. Kapag nag-intervene ka, magiging target ka rin ng bullying. Pero pag hindi ka tumugon doon, the bullying continues. Ano ang gagawin mo? Ang hirap, no? Merong mga bagay na talagang black and white na, ay, kailangan piliin ko ito kasi ito yung tama. Pero kung minsan, parehong maganda yung bagay na yon. Ano yung pipiliin mo? O kaya, what would be the lesser evil? You know, itong dilemma, no? Even Jesus was not spared from it. Yung ebanghelyo natin ngayon, it's about a dilemma. Anong nangyari? Dinala nitong mga Hudyo, itong babae sa harapan ni Jesus. Ano yung sitwasyon? This was a woman who was caught in adultery. Okay? Ang question lang no? She was caught in the act of committing adultery. Bakit lang yung babae yung dinala ron, no? Ba't hindi ba yung lalaki, no? Anyway, that's another problem. Pero, tignan ninyo yung dilemma ni Jesus. Sabi, no? Tinanong siya, Guro, ang babaeng ito'y nahuli sa pakikiapid. Ayon sa kautusan ni Moises, dapat batuhin hanggang sa mamatay ang mga gaya niya. Anong masasabi mo? It's not a sincere question. Why? Ang gusto nila, masilo siya. Gusto siyang subukin para may sumbong sila laban sa kanya. Ano yung dilemma doon? Kung sasabihin niya na, sige, pwede niyo siyang batuhin, ano yung consequence nun? Pag sinabi niya, sige, batuhin niyo siya. Consequence ay, unang-una, hindi ba ito labag dun sa mga sinasabi ninyo na pagpapatawad, okay? Sa mga nagkasala, yung pagiging merciful, di ba taliwas yan? At isa pa, hindi ka pwedeng magpataw ng parusa ng kamatayan. Why? Because we are under the Romans. Yung gobyerno noon ay yung Romano, mga Romano. And kapag ginawa mo yun, ay, hindi pwede. No? You cannot put the law into your hands because it's the Romans who are ruling. And so, labag sa kautusan yan, pwede kang hulihin ng mga Romano. Tapos ikaw pa yung nag-command. Ayan. That's one side of the dilemma. So, talo ka, di ba? Yung pangalawa, pag sinabi mong hindi, huwag niyo siyang batuhin, lumalabag ka naman sa kautusan ni Moises. Di ba, Hudyo tayo, ba't ayaw mo yun? And in fact, in the law of Moses, and we find that in Deuteronomy, especially, yung kapag nahuli yung isang tao, actually, there are many cases. if you blaspheme against God, you will be stoned to death. If you commit adultery, you will be stoned to death. And tingnan nyo ito, no? Yung mga anak na talagang sumusuway sa utos ng kanyang magulang, pwede itong batuhin hanggang mamatay. That was capital punishment in those times. And so, pag sinabi ni Jesus, huwag niyo siyang batuhin, you're not a real Jew. You're going against the law of Moses. So he was in between the horns of this dilemma. At anong sinabi niya? Napakaganda ng ginawa niya. It was a trap, pero siya'y nakatakas. Anong action niya? Jesus was silent. Tapos, siya yumuko. He bent down. At anong ginawa niya? He wrote on the ground. Tapos at their insistence, kinukuyog pa rin siya. Sabi niya, sino man sa inyo na walang kasalanan ang siyang maunang bumato sa kanya. Tapos nagsulat muli siya. Ang question sa akin ng maraming tao, Father, ano yung sinusulat ni Jesus? What was he writing? Ito lang ang instance sa mga ebanghelyo na nagsulat si Jesus. At pati yun, hindi natin alam kung ano ang sinulat niya. Of course, maraming mga interpretation yung mga Bible scholar. Pero eto, no? Siguro, no? Eto yung isang kuro-kuro. Hindi kaya yun yung mga pangalan ng mga nandun na nakapaligid. Tapos, sinusulat niya, ito yung pangalan, no? Ito yung kasalanan mo. Ito yung pangalan, ito yung kasalanan mo. At nakita natin, simula sa pinakamatanda, isa-isang umaalis. Siguro nauna yung pinakamatanda, no? Ito yung pangalan mo, ito yung kasalanan mo. Uy, nakita niya, no? Baka mabuking pa ako dito, no? So, isa-isa silang umalis. And so, in the end, nobody condemned the woman. Napaganda na sinabi ni Jesus. Nasaan sila? Wala ba nagparusa sa iyo? At sagot ng babae, wala po, Ginoo. So, Jesus does not condemn the woman. Pero ito yung sinabi niya, hindi rin kita parurusahan. Humayo ka at huwag nang magkasala. This is the call for us when we receive God's forgiveness. Ito yung panahon na dapat tayong magsisi kasi alam natin na pinapatawad tayo ng Diyos. Yeah, it's good. Ay, siguro itong napakabigat ng mga kasalanan ko, pero patatawarin ako ng Diyos. That's true. Pero there's always a responsibility for us. Itong ating salaysay, yun yung ending. Hindi rin kita parurusahan, humayo ka at huwag nang magkasala. Let's focus on the first part. Hindi rin kita parurusahan. We will not be condemned by the Lord. Pero meron siyang kasama na salita pa. Ano yun? Humayo ka at huwag nang magkasala. In fact, hindi natin alam kung nagkasala itong babae na ito pagkatapos, most probably, no? Pero did she sin again in the terms na nung nahuli siya at yung bigat ng kasalanan niyang yun? We do not know. Pero the words of the Lord are clear. Humayo ka at huwag nang magkasala. These are the words of the confessor. Kapag tayo ay nangungumpisal sa huli, when we receive the absolution, go in peace. And then, there could be those words, sin no more. Because that should be our attitude when we are forgiven. Hindi ko na, Lord, gagawin to. Hindi yung pinatawad ka, tapos at the back of your mind, napatawad ako. Pwede ko na naman gawin ito. It's a matter of attitude. Do you think that the priest will give you the absolution kung nakikita niya na you're not intent on repenting and you're not intent on making your life new? Kaya ako minsan, when we go for confession, meron mga instances na hindi tayo pwedeng patawarin nung pare. That the priest does not give us absolution. Why? Parang kita walang remorse. If you're living in sin and then you cannot promise na tatalikdan mo na yung kasalanan na yon, I cannot give you the absolution kasi walang intent to be sorry. And that's the thing. Yeah, the Lord will forgive, but we have to make up for that. Dapat itanim natin sa isipan natin. Ito yung gusto ng Panginoon na hindi na ako magkasala. Sure, sasabihin ninyo, Father, imposible yun, di ba nagkakasala naman tayo? Yeah, pero intention mo, you will not intend na, ay, gusto ko pang gawin ito. At the point when you are forgiven by God, maybe in the future, it will happen that we would sin. Pero importante ay to keep those in our heart that we would strive to sin no more. It also teaches us, itong binasa natin, mercy. That we may be quick to condemn others. Pero yeah, okay, if it's a matter of correcting our fellow human being, if it's a matter of correcting our children, then do so. In fact, that's what you do as parents, di ba? You correct your children. At hindi pwede sabihin ng anak ninyo na, "Uy, Mami, Daddy, nung kayo kabataan pa, di ba ginagawa nyo rin to?" And therefore, wala kayong karapatan na i-correct kami. Absolutely not. May karapatan kayong mag-correct, even though you have gone through the same things. At ito yung parang sinasabi nyo sa anak ninyo, "Anak, I've also experienced that, pero I'm telling you this out of wisdom. Kasi nagawa ko yan noon, pero I do not want you to fall into the same mistake." Yeah, you will commit mistakes, pero we know better. And that's why we listen. We have the duty, the responsibility to correct others. But we have to avoid condemning others. In order not to condemn others, let's see also, tayo rin nagkakasala. Tayo rin nahuhulog. I'd like to end with these famous words, no? From William Shakespeare. If you're familiar with the play, Merchant of Venice, yung yung babaeng judge or lawyer doon, pangalan niya Portia, she spoke these words as she pleaded for mercy on behalf of the defendant, Antonio. At ito yung sinabi niya, doon sa opening lines niya. "The quality of mercy is not strained. It droppeth as the gentle rain from heaven upon the place beneath. It is twice blessed. It blesseth him that gives and him that takes." Ano ibig sabihin nun? The quality of mercy. Yun yung, yung awa? What is compassion? It is not forced or demanded. It's given freely and naturally. Parang ulan na bumabagsak mula sa langit. And mercy is described as divine and powerful. Why? Kapag nagpatawad ka, it blesses both the giver and the receiver. It blesseth him that gives and him that takes. You are at peace. Ikaw na nagbigay ng pagpapatawad at yung nakatanggap ng pagpapatawad. It's an attribute of God and kings and rulers. Pinapakita nila yung true strength nila when they act mercifully rather than harshly. That's why we have the word magnanimous. Pwede mo siyang parusahan, pero hindi mo ginawa yun. Pwede mo siyang i-condemn, hindi mo ginawa yun. You are magnanimous. And Portia, in that play, she argues that justice should be tempered with mercy, implying that strict justice alone, that can be harsh and incomplete without compassion. In short, ito yung tinuturo sa atin ng mga salitang yun. And our gospel for today, that mercy is a noble, godlike virtue, a voluntary, compassionate act that reveals the true greatness of a person, especially when they have the power to punish, but choose to forgive. Ito yung dasal natin araw-araw. When we ask the Lord, forgive us our sins. But it does not end there. Forgive us our sins as we forgive those who sin against us. We forgive because God forgives. Or we ask God to forgive because we in turn forgive others. And finally, forgive, not because the others deserve forgiveness. Maybe they don't deserve forgiveness, they don't even deserve our attention, but forgive because you deserve peace. When you forgive, you are at peace. Bahala na siya. Ano man response niya dun sa forgiveness mo, but you are at peace. Kaya ito yung tanong natin ngayon. When was the last time I received forgiveness from somebody? When was the last time I forgave somebody? What did I feel after these experiences? Do not worry, because with that, you're like Jesus who forgave. God bless us all.